Tony D and Little Joan in the background, and this is your Screenwriter's Rant on Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1, starring Holly Hunter. The great downward slide of Star Trek continues. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 18, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. You people whom this trailer couldn't have made me any more angry about, what people have done to once great IPs, as they say. You people don't have enough talent to even put this in your show. You should be legally forced to remove everything related to the original Star Trek out of your show. It's that bad. It's horrifically bad. It's everything that's wrong with television, and I guess you could count movies. Look at this. First off, look at that makeup. Look at that makeup. This is what you get when you have completely untalented people, in my opinion, working on a show. This is what you get. See, from a corporate standpoint, this makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. This is something people will watch. Therefore, we can put not our B team, not our C team, but our D team on it. New people. Who cares? People will watch. Look at the makeup job on this. What girl is in charge of your alien makeup? Because this is a girl. This is a girl's decision, in my view. Oh, it'll look so cute. That's not the way the alien makeup should be. You're not supposed to look cute. Okay? It's supposed to be an alien. It's not supposed to be cute, necessarily. It's supposed to look weird. Sometimes off-putting. What alien race is this even? The alien race that goes to the club? Because that's what the design looks like. So they got a bunch of hot young actors. By the way, another black dude to play a Klingon. Suddenly we have black Klingons now. Again, I think a woman was in charge of this. Oh, he looks amazing. That's not the purpose. That's not the purpose. You know what I was waiting for in the realm of Star Trek and with the Klingons? A Klingon, a good Klingon, with a giant scar across his face. Because Klingons are supposedly constantly fighting and doing warrior stuff. They should be all battle scarred. Now I get Michael Dorn wasn't, but he had a different origin or whatever. Look at this guy. What did you find? The nearest J.C. Penney model and put him in the Klingon makeup? No offense to the actor. The actors are not at fault at all. They're just beautiful kids who want to be actors, and they're forced to repeat some of the Robert Picardo, please. What the hell kind of outfit is this even? Okay? What the hell kind of outfit is this even? Jesus. It's and the music is bong, bong. Not Star Trek bong bong, but oh, this is so majestic and epic. It's pathetic. Everything about this trailer is the most pathetic thing. And here's what it's really about. Relationships. Because, Starfleet, we always watch Star Trek to see who was sleeping with who. No, that is absolutely not Star Trek. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. I know I keep saying that, but, you just keep topping yourselves, Hollywood. Now, Holly Hunter is not a bad actress, but, she made her bones playing Southern girls who weren't too educated. So it makes it sound like you handed over Starfleet to some morons who grew up in a swamp somewhere. Look at this. This is what the show's really about. It's going to be a soap opera for young people to fall in love. And there's even a dance scene. Oh, there's the dance scene. Here they are looking at the stars. It's so beautiful. Oh, I love it. I love it. Let me see if I can find the... Oh, yeah, here they're dancing here. But there's another shot of them. It looks like they're going to the club. Yeah, because that's important in space. Yeah, here it is. Here they're at the dance club. Yeah, I got my cool Starfleet uniform. Make sure everybody get the Starfleet uniform. This was never meant to be cool, you morons. You absolute morons. This was a nerd thing. And they sprinkle in just a touch of military stuff in it, which looks completely woke-tarded in this. Like, it just looks insane. You might as well just cut it out. You literally might as well just cut it out. I don't know what this show is. What a mishmash of bullshit it is. What an absolute mishmash. Here's your androgynous captain, the captain of non-binary. I think they put Stacey Abrams in alien makeup to jam her back in the show. Of course, they've got gazillion-dollar special effects. That's the one thing you're going to kind of always rely on at this point. But it's this, like, groundswell music. It's my honor to welcome you to... I can't do Holly Hunter. She sounds like she just walked out of the swamp in her bare feet. And she's got that weird lisp. She's absolutely wrong for this. Absolutely wrong. And what's the deal with the hair? This doesn't scream military to me, of course, because everybody in the show is beautiful to look at. But don't worry, a woman's in charge. Yeah, I can tell. I can tell the whole show's run by women and gay guys. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutally bad. And of course, the headquarters is in San Francisco. Which is so apt for a show that, or an IP that's gone so incredibly woke. Here we go. We got Paul Giamatti as I guess he's an alien. Can't tell. I think I missed this part of it. Hold on, let me play this part. I can't play the sound. So I guess he's going to be the bad guy. It's got music. That's it. Future now and rolling. That's it. So he's the bad guy. I guess he's going to do something negative. Paul Giamatti. How did he get roped into this? I'm really sick of seeing talented people being cast in the total BS. And Holly Hunter, I mean, look, her career's just about done, you know. Sure, I don't blame her. They built the show around her, I'm sure. I'm sure maybe she's seen a couple of Star Trek episodes at some point in her life. But Hollywood continues to do everything wrong. And it's never more blatantly evident with a show like this. What you would do if you're going to build a Star Trek show. The last show that I'm aware of, and I've been out of TV a long time, but the last show I'm aware of that had really smart people writing it was Futurama, the original Futurama. I'm not sure about now. I think it's gotten too big, and now they've maybe gotten away from that. Although I think a lot of the original people are still involved in some capacity. But the original group of writers and producers for Futurama, these guys were super smart. They were writing comedy and they were writing nerd stuff. And a lot of it. They were coming up with alien languages, the whole thing. Just to do a gag. That's a lot of work. by the way. You're going to create an alien language and then put it in the background of the shot so later some nerd can figure it out. That's a lot of work for a gag that normies, they're not even going to look for it. This show looks like it had absolutely zero work done. Like zero. They said, oh, we're going to do Starfleet Academy. Who can we get? And then they dropped in some names, and that was about it. And they hired writers. I think, again, this is part of the Hollywood trend of like, oh, make sure you hire writers who have absolutely zero, and I mean zero, connection to the previous old shows. Maybe not the more recent shows, but yeah, certainly even the next generation. I think all the original Star Trek guys, maybe they're all dead, but at least some of the next generation people, Deep Space Nine people, would have been able to help you. It's just unbelievable. Watch it if you hate yourself. Brutally bad. Everything, every frame of this, I hate it. Again, no shade to the actors. They're just there. They're just there to be good looking and say their lines and hopefully get another gig somewhere else. This is a soap opera. That's all it is. And it's for girls. It's for girls. They think women will watch this. You're insane. You're utterly insane. This is what Nepo baby movie and TV executives create. They create this stuff. Maybe they used to watch some of this stuff. Maybe they're just delusional. Maybe they've just been put in charge. I don't know. But they're utterly disconnected from their audience. This show is completely disconnected from its audience. Completely. What kind of nerd talks about this? Okay? Now you might get the nerds that are in the current fandom who are still wearing masks. They've got various pronouns, and they're running around these cons, bossing people around and, saying woke-tarded stuff. Oh yeah, those people will watch this show. Those people will watch it. If you got a fan who's like 350 pounds and his girlfriend's 400 pounds and they're using walkers and they're breathing oxygen and they're in their mid-30s, yeah, those two walking piles of death, yeah, they'll be watching this show because they're too lazy to think for themselves. But actual nerds, like an engineer, oh my God. Take one look at this show and go, what the F is this? What the F is this? An actual scientist? No way. No way. They wouldn't lower themselves to watch this. They don't watch TV anymore. Again, who watches TV? This is for, I don't know who anymore. Old people. When you talk about old people, and I am not one of them, older than me people, they don't watch this kind of stuff. They never did. And I don't know why you would attempt to market a show to them anyway. They just want to watch fun mysteries. Really. This isn't even the old show, so what are you even trying to sell them? Remake Gunsmoke and be done with it if you want to appeal to them. This show? You're still trying to go for these woke-tards? Because that's all it is. It's the most woke-tarded thing I've ever seen. Trying to build new IPs with these characters. None of these characters, they all look boring. From beginning to end. The least boring person in this is Holly Hunter, and it's only because it's Holly Hunter. It's not because she's her character. There's nothing in this about character. You can show us cool alien makeup, a very dignified fat woman in alien makeup, but what is that? What is that? You know what kind of alien people want to see? They want to see Worf was the last really cool alien, in the main cast in Star Trek, because he was kind of a badass, right? He'd show up, maybe chop your head off, or maybe he'd negotiate with you. Who knows? That woman, what is she gonna do? File an HR complaint? That alien in the background behind Holly Hunter? What is she gonna do? Go to the replicator and spend the week there eating? What the F is this? Robert Picardo. Oh, he walks in like he's king of Star Trek. Yeah, no. This trailer, I guess, was designed for the San Diego crowd. And who the F could afford to go to the San Diego con anymore? I don't know. I certainly can't. Not that I would even want to. You think they're like, woo? I guess probably at the panel you guys had in San Diego. But that's another place. It's not a microcosm of real audience. That's just the people in Southern California who have too much money and time and go to San Diego. It's not a metric of your fan base. So if you go to Hall H and show this thing and people applaud, yeah, they're just being hopeful, you know? They want Star Trek to be good. I mean, I'm not saying they hate it, but they are the least important fans. They're too rich. Yeah, they can watch this. They also got subscriptions to every friggin' channel. They're rich. They're rich. People out in the Midwest, are they even going to be able to watch this? You need Paramount Plus to watch it. Again, television is dying. You could see Dave Cullen did a thing. What the hell is this mess? Yeah, it just looks awful. It's going to be about relationships. And I guess rehabilitating San Francisco. Oh, San Francisco in the future. It's going to be great. Yeah, I hope there's not going to be poop on the street. You're going to do an episode where you go back in time and talk about that? I bet you won't. Somehow, when the Starfleet goes back in time to see the past, they never mention that, Democrats destroyed San Francisco. There's one thing in history you could 100% blame on Democrats. It would be the destruction of San Francisco. I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city at one point. It was like peak America at one point. Now it's so horrible. Even when I went to go see it, it was pretty nice. It had a lot of city problems even when I was there, but I always and when I went there in the early 90s, it was really nice. Like, then that was when I was thinking, oh man, I'd like to live here. I wish I could afford it. Now I would be like, I live there? Are you paying me? Because there's no way I'm going to San Francisco. I wouldn't even visit San Francisco now. So, like, that would be something sci-fi guys should address, because that's the kind of stuff they would dig down into if you were going to do, a mirror of a metaphor for sci-fi. They would, they would dig down into that. But do you think anybody in Southern California making this show could dig down into the real history of San Francisco and why it's a S-hole and how it eventually became this? Yeah, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do the math, because the math would be, at some point, the leaders of San Francisco finally said, you know what, we need industry here. Let's bring in the guys who make starships and lower the tax rate to something livable. And, these people, I think, believe that throughout history, it was only the smart progressive types that somehow made everything work. And they ignore, sort of the people who actually build things. No, it was the academics who made everything. They're really, really smart people. And that's who's running this show. Like, there's no visionaries. There's no, like, normal people. You need a few guys who actually worked in their lives to tell you things, right? In the original Star Trek, even in the movies, you had Scotty and you had these scenes where he'd be down in engineering. Those would be the real guys. There would be an acknowledgement of like, well, yeah, there's Captain Kirk and he's the commander, but there's also these guys down in engineering. They're trying to keep the ship running and they're actually fixing things. I think that's almost gone from Star Trek, current Star Trek, from what I've seen. I think it's just merely acknowledged because the original show had like, it was engineering, medical, and science. But how can you build a show about the future without people who can think past pronouns and all that nonsense? How can you have a show that's essentially about the future of STEM jobs, and then have nobody who's ever worked those jobs? I mean, they jump ship on the science part of this IP, like during Discovery. This looks exactly like it would fit in with the whole Discovery nonsense. And the current Strange New World stuff, which that looks terrible too. Looks awful. The moment you guys did a musical, man, did you beclown yourselves? Again, who's this show for? It's not for women. You can put nothing but females in this. You could put flowers across the spaceships, make them all pink, and put horses and ponies in every scene. Girls still wouldn't watch this thing. You could put all the relationships in you want. They don't like Star Trek as a rule. Now, can you find some fan girls who are into Star Trek? Yeah, you can find a few. I know a few nerd girls. But those are rare, and many of them are only in it because that's their social scene. They came up in the nerd social scene, dating nerd guys, and that's what they like and do. Do they actually watch the show like they have to watch the show? No, it's more about, are we gonna watch the show? With your we as in her and her boyfriend, her and her friends. Is she up on the show enough so when she gets to the Star Trek con or the Comic Con or whatever, that she could talk about it with her other friends? That's what it's about for them. The guys were into, I used to go to shows and they would have the Starfleet tech manual, and guys would pore over it. None of the women would. The guys would. And it would have schematics of all the ships and supposedly how they worked, and there would be discussions of, well, this doesn't look like it works. Well, this could work, or you can put this and this there. Schematics. Women don't look at schematics for the most part. Again, there are always exceptions. You could find a girl who's wired like a guy in that respect, but they're rare. They're rare. So aiming this show at women is the most insane, backward, stupid thing you could possibly do. I partially blame, again, the Chinese. They've infiltrated these companies, I believe, and are steering them in the absolute wrong directions. It's either that they're steering this show towards women, or they're merely just making sure all the science guys are out of commission, because they don't want anybody with real science views that could inspire people to do science. I would be embarrassed, if I was a scientist or engineer, if I watched this show. It would be embarrassing. I can only imagine how a group of, engineers are hanging out, having lunch. Oh, what'd you watch on TV last night? I think I watched Yellowstone. What'd you watch? Oh, I watched Starfleet Academy. Starfleet Academy, dude. That sounds terrible. Is that any good? Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, they got aliens and stuff. Some of the chicks are hot. Like, there's nothing even to talk about in that show. In my view. I know. It's just, I'm so angry because the original Star Trek is just so great. The original Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, he sought out writers. He sought out the best sci-fi guys he could get at the time, including Harlan Ellison and a few others. And he got them to write the show. This doesn't even look like you have one sci-fi writer, much less the best ones. This looks like more DEI crap. What has changed at Paramount? Nothing. But then again, the show was probably built during the reign of terror. And, inclusion, the reign of DEI. Look at this. This looks like something out of a romance novel. This isn't Star Trek. Who the hell wants to see this? Oh, right. Women do. Except women don't watch this show. The moment they hear Star Trek, they go, oh, yeah, whatever, and go their merry way and go shoe shopping or something. They're not going to watch this show, you lunkheads. I would fire everybody involved in this show. I really would. I would love to work at Paramount and just fire people. Like, that would be my job. There'd be HR. I'd be anti-HR. My job would be just to fire people. I would love to fire these people. What the hell are you doing? Well, I thought it would appeal to women and their sensibilities. Who's the audience for the show? Women? Get out. Get out of my office. This is, again, the destruction of this IP. So, whatever new group takes over, Star Trek and Paramount, I guess they could start to retool this show. I guess. And try to dig it out of a hole. But that's the worst way to do it. See, they developed this show during the reign of terror. They shot this show probably during that time too. As we're coming out of it, Trump's elected. Now, there's some rumblings. Okay, maybe we got to back off the DEI stuff. I'm sure that was a discussion. And they backed off some of it, but probably very reluctantly. Because keep in mind, all the people who work on the show, they all love that DEI crap. These were all Southern Californian progressives. So all they really did was just hide the DEI stuff better. Yeah, don't be so arrogant about it. We'll just slip it in. No one will notice. But see, they've been unleashed for so long. Good luck. Good luck hiding anything. These people are about as subtle as a punch to the face when it comes to their politics. So their version of hiding it still won't be good enough. And meanwhile, the corporate guys are like, oh, yeah, it doesn't look too bad. At least you're not, actively pooping in the face of the fans. So that's an improvement. And technically, they're right. It is sort of an improvement. But once they lean into science and nobody can write any science on the show, which is my prediction, it'll be a disaster. Or it'll be, you know what it'll be? It'll be worse than a disaster. It'll be mid. It'll be boring and mid. Like, it won't be terrible, but it won't be worth seeing. It'll just kind of drift into, I don't know, they probably already renewed it for a second season because they do stuff so far in advance. But, it'll probably limp to a second season where they start killing off characters and start trying to desperately add some excitement to the show. And, but you can't build a house on a pile of sand. It's the foundation that's strong. And that's what makes a show good, or a movie or whatever. So what they can go back, so imagine Star Trek as an IP, as a house. And it's got one of the most solid foundations, but they just keep building on top of it. And the house keeps falling over. The top parts of it keep falling over, but the bottom part's still rock solid. What they need to do is shave off everything that isn't the original and just start over. But worse, they are going to just start over. At some point, they're going to hit the hard reset button and just say, okay, this is Star Trek with Captain Kirk. Here are the new guys. That'll probably be the biggest insult. I think they're probably waiting for William Shatner to go, which is terrible. I hope he lives forever. I literally hope that man lives forever. And that, 100 years from now, they'll be studying like he's still alive, and he still seems to look about 60. And Shatner's like, yeah, I don't know how I do it, but I'm just going to go back on Twitter and tell people I'm still alive. Yeah, I would love that. It's probably not going to happen, but I can hope. I can hope in my sci-fi dreams. But these guys need a visionary. That's what they need. Now, I'm not really any longer a fan of Michael J. Straczynski, mostly because he won't shut up about his politics. But like a guy like that, maybe a guy who wasn't political, he would be a good guy because he's already done a show. And his vision wouldn't be the same. It would be different. I'd probably have lots of complaints about it, but at least there'd be a vision. At least it'd be something close to science fiction. Really, the only way these IPs are ever going to get good again is studios like Paramount, Disney, Warner Brothers. They got to reach the point where they don't care about these IPs, but they care enough that they're still going to throw money at them. One of the reasons the original Star Trek is so good, CBS or NBC, I forget which channel originally owned it, they didn't care about Star Trek. In fact, they kept cutting its budget. And even though it was an amazing show, the ratings weren't so amazing. They didn't consider it anything other than a soap opera in space. So they cut it back, until finally the show had to be canceled. And, and then later in reruns, it became legendary. So this kind of show, it's the opposite thing. Oh my God, it's Star Trek. We're going to make so much money. So many people want to see this. And then they make the show and it's like, why isn't anybody watching this? It's the opposite of expectations there. The show has, you need a bunch of crazy creatives to take over this IP or a corner of it and just let them do their job. But they have to be good. They can't be beholden to the message or the corporate morons who run this show. And they have to know science fiction. All right, I'm done my rant. It's just my opinion, but I hate everything about the new Star Trek. I'm an old head. What do you want from me? Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D. Join me tonight for more complaining on the live stream at 7 p.m. I hope we'll be talking about the box office. So far, the numbers, the site that I use every week, is down. So I'm going to have to fish around for box office numbers somewhere. But we'll figure it out. It looks like the Fantastic Four did about as well as Superman. But we'll dive into it. Hope to see you there. We'll see you on the live stream at 7.